Is it stupid to put money in TLT? Has anyone followed TLT lately? It's basically the US Treasury 20 years ETF and it's hitting all-time low, with the interest rate likely going up or stay higher for a while. Is it time to invest in the US Treasury bond, or am I too late to get in now? I've looked at the past 10 years and it seems the bottom was around 90-ish, but it's trading at 84-ish nowadays. It's a good time to start DCAing in if you think rates will go lower from here over the next 10 years. Don't lump sum though, because in the short term rates are going higher. Is it time to invest in the US Treasury bond, or am I too late to get in now? If it's at all-time low now, how is it too late? It's not stupid. You're getting 5.2 yield. Good dividends. Will perform well once rates fall. It will just take one war to end to push inflation down more. Ukraine has been going on for a few years and it won't last forever. Maybe it can go down or flat for 6 more months, but if it recovers it will go up 20 in 4 months. I am buying every 3 weeks. Eek, that thing's a falling knife. I'd wait. It depends on your investment objectives. Good if you are investing for 20 years later. Bad if you're investing for 5 years. It's a good hedge against a recession and falling interest rates. I would say it is, yes. Nothing like financial crisis prices to get me buying. I added time picking this up. Bonds will be the next meme stocks. Mark my words, crazy stuff will come. It's black swan insurance. If you're playing the long game, it'll eventually pay off when the market tanks and you can roll the profits into cheap equities, adding some at the lows. Rates will come down eventually, maybe in 3-4 quarters. Yeah, it's a falling knife. Chart looks terrible, especially with interest rates surging since August. It'd hold off. If rates continue to move higher, the ETF will continue to drop. If you're to believe the yield curve is going to uninvert, then TLT is going to move lower. This is an ETF. What they are holding in the EFT is old 20-year Treasury at very low interest rates. So explain to a newbies why you think it will go up. It doesn't make sense to me. I'm buying ours on TLT. I'm not buying TLT until the Fed says they're doing QE or lowering rates. The long bond yield is still lower than short-term T-bills inverted yield curve. Looks like it's going to uninvert by the long end raising instead of the short end falling. Do you know how the ETF works? So no, please don't buy it. I just bought into the 2x today. And if it goes down further, I'll add more. Rate hikes are at or near the peak depending on who you're talking to. Inflation has slowed down significantly from a year ago, and most are expecting cuts to begin next year. I'm also long tech, so it'll be a little hedge if we have a downturn. In which case I'd expect the Fed to cut rates. Tough question. I don't know how to time shit, so I'll just sit this one out. Just set a series of limit buys after deciding what you think the future value of the stock is and leave it. I'm still long TBT. Considering the long-term horizon, a 5 return is a cop-out. If long-term investment is the strategy, SP 500 index averages higher. If we are all buying TLT, then who is the loser? There are more sellers than buyers. Frankly, nobody knows if it will bottom this week, next year, or at what rate. Is 5 worth that risk? Look up John Hussman's research and analysis on bonds and when Treasury bonds actually return value. Not everything he says is right, but he has good data on this. Not really. As long as it's below $89-90, aren't you getting 5 risk-free? Why would you buy before they're done raising rates? Ask why yields are increasing and think where they are likely to go in the future. Is there going to be more supply or demand for long-term treasuries? You'd be okay holding U.S. notes rolling over so that maturities are always 20-30 years out? A lot of the USA's federal debt is maturing in the next couple of years. I'm looking at starting to buying this. Super oversold at the moment. Yes. Side note. Is there an accumulating version of TLT? I'm not from the US, so my dividends get taxed at 30. A few important things to note. 1. Withholding tax is charged on TLT dividends versus no tax on US Treasury coupons. 2. You pay annual expense ratio 50 bits per second if I'm not wrong for TLT. 3. The duration doesn't drop as the managers actively maintain a fixed duration by rolling. You don't get pull to par effect versus US Treasury. All in all, TLT should be used to augment exposures for tactical allocations. Not build constructing a position in bonds because it's way less efficient. Easy way to own it is to sell the Jan. 2024 80 put for a right now a very juicy premium, and if you get put to in Jan, you would own it well below its all-time low. I think the time horizon of TLT is unlikely to match your time horizon for wanting the money. Generally, the best play for most on bonds is holding to maturity. So I would use that approach to make this decision. Also consider the opportunity cost of not being in cash RN and in equities in the medium to long term. Honestly, now isn't great for long duration because you get more return on cash. So I'd stay short duration to benefit from interest rates with the goal of using the cash to put into the equity market at favorable prices. I bought way higher. Su-84 is a steal emo lol, but hey. If the dollar evaporates into the ether, bad investment. Get the crystal ball out. You are looking in the rearview mirror. The forward projection will be a lot better than it was in the past because rates went from to 0 in 2020 and back to 5 today. How high will the 20-year get after reaching 16-year highs? Nobody knows, of course. But most of the damage has already been inflicted already.